Okay, so I have a question for you. And I want you to be, totally honest. Not the Instagram answer, but the real answer. Are you happy? Like, actually deeply happy? Or are you just managing, paying the bills, dealing with that sort of low-grade headache of just existence, maybe feeling a little bit stuck?
Wow. Okay. We're not warming up today, are we? Just going straight for the jugular.
Oh, we have to, because the material we are diving into today, it starts exactly there. It doesn't ask, how was your week? It asks, why are you suffering?
Right.
And it claims the answer isn't the economy or your boss or some kind of bad luck. It says the answer and the solution is sitting right between your ears.
It absolutely does. And I'll be honest, when I first started looking through these notes, I thought, okay, here we go, another positive thinking manifesto.
Yeah.
But as you dig in, it's much more mechanical than that. We're talking about the Afghatan man.
The Afghatan man. That sounds like a superhero from, a 1940s comic book.
It kind of is, actually. Afghatan just refers to the subconscious mind. And the whole premise here is that this isn't just some part of your brain that, stores old phone numbers. It is the single greatest power source in your life. The text literally calls it the force that thinks before you think and feels before you feel.
See, that's the part that gets me. Thinks before you think. Because I like to believe I'm the one running the show up here, I decide to drink coffee. I decide to record this deep dive. But this material is basically arguing I'm just the PR spokesperson for a decision that was already made backstage.
That is a perfect analogy. Think of your mind as a giant ship.
Yeah.
A massive ocean liner. You're the captain on the bridge.
Okay, I like that. I can be the captain.
You've got the binoculars, you see the horizon, you give the orders, you say, full steam ahead. But here's the catch. The captain doesn't actually turn the propeller. The captain doesn't shovel the coal into the engine. The captain doesn't steer the rudder. That all happens below deck in the engine room. And that engine room is the subconscious, the Afghatan.
And the guys in the engine room, do they even know where we're going?
No.
Yeah.
And this is the critical insight. This is what changes everything. The crew in the engine room, they can't see the ocean. They have no idea if you're heading for a tropical island or a giant iceberg. They only know one thing. Obey the order from the bridge.
So they don't question it.
Never. If the captain screams, reverse engines, they reverse. They don't argue. They don't say, hey, captain, that seems like a really bad idea. They execute.
So if I'm standing on the bridge, my conscious mind, and I'm just worrying all day, if I'm thinking, I'm going to fail, I'm going to go broke, I feel like I'm getting sick, I'm essentially screaming down the tube to the engine room, set course for failure, full speed ahead to sickness.
Exactly. And the engine room just says, aye, aye, captain.
Yeah.
And steers you right into the disaster you were worried about. The source material calls this the no logic rule. Your subconscious mind is completely non-judgmental. It accepts every thought you impress upon it as a direct command.
That's terrifying, truly. Because I don't know about you, but my internal monologue is not always a pep talk. Sometimes it's a roast battle where I'm the only target.
Right. And that's why this is so important. Most of us we're terrible captains. We're muttering about sinking the ship all day long, and then we wonder why we're taking on water. We treat our subconscious like a trash can for anxieties, instead of the engine that actually drives our life.
Okay, so let's talk about how we fix this. How do we become better captains? Because if that engine room is that powerful, I want it working for me, not against me. The material mentions a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's this core idea that your reality is just a lagging indicator of your mentality. So if you believe deep down, I am weak, your subconscious actually alters your physiology to lower your energy levels. If you believe I am poor, your subconscious will literally filter out opportunities to make money because they don't align with your truth.
So it's like confirmation bias on steroids.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It desperately wants to be right. So if you say life is hard, your subconscious will work overtime to prove you right by making things difficult.
So the solution seems obvious then, right? You just lie. You stand in front of the mirror and say, I am a billionaire. I am an Olympian. But let's be real. If I do that, a part of my brain immediately screams back, no, you're not. You're eating cereal in your pajamas.
Yes. And that is where most people fail with this stuff. They treat it like magic words. But the subconscious isn't really listening to the words. It's listening to the feeling.
Ah, the feeling.
The formula in our notes is belief equals repeated thought plus emotion.
Thought plus emotion. Okay, break that down for me.
Okay, think of the thought as the car and the emotion as the gasoline. You can have a beautiful Ferrari, a great affirmation like I am successful. But if the tank is empty, if you feel nothing when you say it, that car is not going anywhere. Or worse, if you say I am wealthy, But underneath, you feel that tight knot of panic about your rent. The subconscious ignores the word wealthy and locks onto the panic.
It hears the panic. It hears the vibration, not the vocabulary.
Exactly. It's an honest listener. It hears what you mean, not just what you say.
So how do we hack that? Because I can't just decide to feel like a millionaire if I have $10 in my pocket. That feels, well, it feels delusional.
It feels delusional to the conscious mind, the captain. But remember, the engine room is blind. It can't see your bank account. It only knows what you feed it. So the source suggests using that mirror technique, but approaching it like method acting.
Method acting. Like I need to channel my inner Daniel Day-Lewis to affirm my way to success.
In a way, yes. When you look in the mirror and you say, I am succeeding, you have to actually summon the feeling of success, even if it's a memory of winning a spelling bee in 3rd grade. You have to capture that emotional frequency of winning and attach it to the words you're saying now.
So I'm borrowing the feeling from the past to fuel the future.
Or borrowing it from your imagination. But you have to generate the heat. The source is very specific on this. Dry words have no power. It has to be wet with emotion.
Wet with emotion. I like that image, even if it is a little gross. But it makes perfect sense. That's why we remember traumatic events so clearly, because they're soaked in fear.
Bingo. Trauma is basically a negative visualization that worked perfectly. You had a thought, you attached this intense fear to it, and your subconscious said, okay, noted. We're never forgetting this. This is who we are now. This practice is just doing the same thing, the same mechanic, but in reverse.
Okay, so speaking of visualization, let's move to the mental movie. Because the notes say the subconscious is an image processor. It prefers JPEGs over text files.
It does. I mean, if I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, what do you immediately see?
A pink elephant, obviously.
Right. You don't see the words D-O-N-T. You see the image. The subconscious speaks in pictures. So the strategy here is to become a film director for your own mind.
And this is meant to be a bedtime story, right? Just before you sleep.
Yes, in the twilight state. That moment, right before you fall asleep, your conscious guard is down. The captain is getting tired. He's leaving the bridge. And that is the perfect time to slip a note under the door to the engine room.
So instead of doom scrolling or replaying that awkward thing I said in a meeting 3 years ago, I run a specific tape.
You run the highlight reel of the future. You see yourself vividly living the life you want. But again, you have to be in the movie, not just watching it. You have to feel the handshake, smell the coffee in your new office, feel the sense of relief of paying off that debt.
You know, I've heard athletes do this. I think Michael Phelps used to visualize every single race, every stroke, before he even got in the pool.
It's standard practice in elite sports. And neuroscience actually backs it up. The brain has a very hard time distinguishing between a vivid visualization and an actual reality. If you visualize raising your left hand, the same neurons fire as when you actually raise it.
So you're essentially practicing success while you're lying in bed.
You're calibrating your internal GPS. If you don't input a destination, the GPS just sits there. Or worse, it just defaults to the last place you went, which for many of us is Anxiety Town.
I hate that town. The property taxes are way too high.
Way too high.
Let's pivot for a second to something a little more controversial in the notes. The connection between the mind and the body, and especially wealth. Because I can get on board with the mindset stuff, but the source seems to imply that you can think your way out of a fever or think your way into a raise. Isn't that a little, I don't know, dangerous?
I'm glad you brought that up because it's really easy to misinterpret this part. The source isn't saying don't go to the doctor. It's saying that the body is a mirror of the mind. And we know this is true medically. Stress causes inflammation. Fear suppresses the immune system. That's not magic, that's cortisol.
Right. If I'm stressed out, my shoulders are up by my ears and I get a tension headache. That's a physical result of a mental state.
Exactly. So the argument here is simple. If negative thoughts can contribute to you being sick, then positive thoughts can contribute to you being well. If you're feeding the subconscious things like, I am strong, I am energetic, my cells are healing, you are literally moving your body out of fight or flight and into a state of rest and repair.
It's the placebo effect, basically, which is just a fancy term for belief works.
Correct. The placebo effect is the most well-documented proof we have that the mind can control the body. This is just a protocol for triggering it on purpose without the sugar pill.
Okay. I'll buy that. But what about the money? Poverty starts in the mind. That's a really tough pill to swallow for someone who's working 2 jobs and still struggling. It feels a bit like victim blaming.
I agree. It can sound harsh. But let's look at it through that Av-Shaitan lens again. It's not about blame. It's about the internal setting. If your deep belief maybe passed down from your parents or just society, is that money is hard to get, or rich people are greedy, or I never have enough, what happens?
I guess you approach the world with a scarcity mindset. You don't ask for the raise, you don't invest, you just hoard what you have.
And your subconscious, trying to protect you, keeps you in that safe, familiar zone. It will literally repel opportunities that conflict with your core identity as a struggling person. The source argues you have to break that identity first. You have to affirm, I am worthy of abundance, before the abundance can even show up.
It's like that waiter analogy. If you go to a restaurant and only order a glass of water, the waiter brings you water. He doesn't bring you champagne. The universe is the waiter.
And most of us are ordering struggle because we think that's all that's on the menu.
So we need to order the lobster, even if we can't pay for it yet.
Mentally, yes. You have to vibrate at the level of the lobster.
Vibrate at the level of the lobster. I'm putting that on a t-shirt. Okay, so we've got the theory, the captain and the crew, the movie, the emotion. But I know myself, I'll turn this off, get a Slack notification, and forget all of this. We need a system. What's the daily protocol?
The source is very strict about this. It calls it obvious, a practice, a discipline, and it starts the second you open your eyes.
Before I grab my phone to check the doom scroll.
Do not touch the phone.
Yeah.
If you do that, you're letting the world program your engine room first thing. The first instruction of the day has to come from you. The script says, wake up and immediately say, today is a good day.
It sounds so cheesy.
It is cheesy, but it frames the canvas for the day. If you wake up groaning, you've already lost the morning. Today's a good day. Then throughout the day, the source gives you an anchor phrase. I am calm.
I am calm. When do I use that?
Whenever the heat rises, someone cuts you off in traffic. I am calm. Your boss sends a passive-aggressive email. I am calm. It's a reset button. It stops that negative command from reaching the engine room.
So you're guarding the door.
Exactly. You are the bouncer of your own mind. You decide which thoughts get in.
And then the evening routine.
Gratitude. I give thanks. It shifts your focus from what I lack to what I have. And then finally, the mental movie we talked about. Visualizing the dream as you drift off to sleep.
It all seems so simple. Almost. Too simple.
And that's the trap. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy because we are addicted to our old patterns. We're addicted to complaining. We bond over it. Oh, isn't the weather awful? Oh, I'm so tired.
We do. Complaining is like a social currency. If I walk into the office and say, I am feeling magnificent and abundant, people are going to think I've joined a cult.
They will. And that's why this is an internal job. You don't have to announce it, but you have to do it. You have to be the one to reprogram the code.
And if you don't?
Then the old code just keeps running, the default settings. And for most people, the default settings are fear and doubt and limitation.
That's the kicker, isn't it? The subconscious is always on. It's like a server farm that never powers down. It's recording right now.
It never sleeps. It's recording this very conversation. It's recording your reaction to it.
So if I'm sitting here listening and thinking, this is interesting, but it probably won't work for me, I've just given a command.
You've just signed the order, it won't work for me. And the engine room says, understood, make sure this doesn't work.
Wow. That's actually kind of heavy. It puts all the responsibilities squarely on us. There's no one else to blame.
It's ultimate responsibility. The source ends with this very clear dichotomy. The mind can be your best friend or your greatest enemy. It doesn't care which one. It has no preference. The choice is up to you.
The soil doesn't care if you plant corn or if you plant nightshade. It'll just grow what you plant.
Exactly. So, what are you planting?
Well, I'm trying to plant some roses, but I think I've got a lot of weeds to pull first.
We all do. That's the work.
This has been, honestly, a bit of a wake-up call. It's so easy to get lost in the complexity of life and forget that the operating system is actually pretty simple. Input equals output.
Garbage in, garbage out. Magic in, magic out.
I love that. Okay, so here's my challenge to everyone listening and to myself. Tomorrow morning, the mirror. It's going to feel awkward. You're probably going to feel silly, but do it anyway. Look yourself in the eye and give the captain's orders.
And make sure you mean it. Feel it.
Feel the vibration and vibrate at the level of the lobster.
Please don't let that be the only takeaway from this.
It might be, but seriously, thank you for breaking this down. It really does transform positive thinking from a bumper sticker into a mechanical process.
My pleasure. It really is powerful stuff.
So, here is a final provocative thought for you to chew on as you go about your day. We now know the subconscious accepts whatever you tell it as absolute truth. So right now, in this very second, What specific instruction are you giving it? Are you telling it this deep dive was just some interesting entertainment? Or are you telling it that this is the moment the ship turns around?
The captain is on the bridge. The choice is yours.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.